There comes a point in life when you realize that peace is not something you find, it's something you protect. We live in a world where everyone wants a reaction, where every word, every comment, every disagreement is designed to pull you out of character. People will test your patience. Circumstances will shake your calm. And life will throw you into moments where anger feels justified and reaction feels necessary. But the truth is, the more you let the world control how you feel, the more power you give away. This speech is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable. It's about learning how to stay centered in a world that constantly tries to pull you off balance. Because no matter who you are or what you've achieved, you'll face moments that challenge your peace. People who misunderstand you, betray you, or test you for no reason. But those moments don't define you. Your reaction does. The goal is not to never feel anger, frustration, or disappointment. The goal is to understand those emotions, to master them, and to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. To choose calm over chaos, understanding over ego, and peace over pride. Because when you can control your inner world, no external world can break you. So today, we're going to talk about how to never get angry or bothered by anyone. Not by ignoring life, but by mastering it. Not by suppressing emotion, but by strengthening your emotional discipline. Because true power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from controlling yourself. And once you understand that no one can take your peace away, every time we get angry, it's easy to believe that the person or situation in front of us is the cause of it. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone disrespects you at work. Someone says something that hurts you deeply. And instantly your emotions rise like a wave. You feel heat in your chest, tension in your body, and before you know it, you react. But here's the truth: anger is never the first emotion. It's the last layer. A mask that covers something much deeper, something more human. Beneath every outburst, there's always a root cause. And until we learn to understand that root instead of the reaction, we'll always be at the mercy of our emotions. Think about it. When someone makes a hurtful comment, why does it affect you so much? It's not just what they said, it's what it meant to you. Maybe their words touched an old wound, a place where you felt unappreciated, misunderstood, or rejected before. The anger isn't about them, it's about what you've carried inside for a long time. The real reason we get angry is because we feel unseen, disrespected, or powerless. And instead of addressing those feelings, we project them outward. We lash out because it's easier to fight the world than to face the discomfort inside us. Understanding the root means becoming aware of your own triggers. It means asking yourself, why did this upset me? Rather than who made me angry? Because the moment you shift that question, you take back control. When you start examining your reactions, you begin to see patterns, certain types of people, certain words, certain situations that always seem to get to you. Those patterns are not coincidences, they're lessons. They're showing you the exact areas where you still need healing, where you still need to grow. Anger thrives on ignorance. The less you understand yourself, the more power anger has over you. But when you pause and reflect, when you start identifying what you're really feeling beneath that surface frustration, whether it's disappointment, fear, or sadness, the anger starts to lose its grip because now you're dealing with the truth, not the symptom. And truth always brings clarity. Most people spend their lives trying to manage their temper without ever understanding it. They use techniques, counting to 10, taking deep breaths, walking away, but these are temporary fixes. The real transformation begins when you go deeper, when you begin to ask, what am I protecting? Because anger is often a defense mechanism. It's the mind's way of saying, I feel unsafe. It's an emotional shield, but the more we rely on that shield, the less we understand the wounds it's covering. The next time you feel that rush of emotion, stop for a moment. Don't fight it, don't justify it, and don't express it blindly. Just observe it. Feel it in your body. Notice what thought triggered it. Maybe someone ignored you and deep down you felt invisible. Maybe someone criticized you and it reminded you of a time you felt inadequate. That's the root. The person in front of you is only the spark, not the fire. The fire has been burning within you long before this moment. Understanding the root is not about blaming yourself, it's about freeing yourself. It's about realizing that peace comes when you take responsibility for your inner world. When you stop expecting others to make you feel respected or valued, and instead start creating that feeling within yourself, no one can disturb your calm. The world doesn't get quieter, but you do. The irony is that the people who trigger us the most often become our greatest teachers. They reveal to us the parts of ourselves that still need understanding. Every argument, every irritation, every emotional reaction is an invitation to look within and see what's unresolved. When you learn to do that, you start responding differently. You stop taking things personally, you stop seeing others as enemies, and instead, you see them as mirrors reflecting back your own growth areas. Anger loses its power when awareness steps in, because awareness changes everything. When you understand your emotions, you can guide them. When you understand your triggers, you can transform them. And when you understand the root, you no longer live in reaction to the world around you. You begin to live in harmony with the world within you. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that what people do or say is not always about you. For most of us, our emotions are tied to how others treat us. When someone praises us, we feel confident and valued. When someone criticizes or ignores us, we feel small, invisible, and unworthy. We build our sense of self around other people's approval, as if their opinions define our value. But the moment we do that, we hand over our power. We allow others to control how we feel, how we see ourselves, and even how we live. Detaching your self-worth from others' behavior isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about recognizing that your value doesn't fluctuate with someone else's moods, actions, or opinions. The truth is, people see the world through their own filters, shaped by their pain, their insecurities, their past, and their perspective. When someone treats you poorly, it's rarely about who you are. It's about what they're carrying inside. Someone who feels insecure might try to make others feel small. Someone who feels unloved might withhold affection. Someone who has been betrayed might struggle to trust anyone. Yet we often take these behaviors personally, as if their inability to see our worth means we don't have any. The more we internalize others' behavior, the more fragile our peace becomes. Think about it. If your happiness depends on how others perceive you, you'll constantly be adjusting yourself, changing your words, your tone, your energy, just to be accepted. You'll live in a state of silent anxiety, walking on emotional eggshells, trying to please everyone but yourself. And even then, someone will still misunderstand you. Someone will still criticize you. You can be the kindest, most genuine person in the world, and someone will still find a reason to dislike you. When your worth depends on others, life becomes an endless race for approval that you can never win. Detaching your worth means understanding that you are whole even when others can't see it. You are valuable not because of what you do for others or how much they appreciate you, but because of who you are at your core. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply in self-awareness that others' behavior no longer shakes your foundation. You begin to see clearly that their reactions are a reflection of them, not a definition of you. Someone's anger doesn't mean you're wrong. Someone's silence doesn't mean you're unimportant. Someone's rejection doesn't mean you're unworthy. These are simply expressions of their internal world colliding with yours. The challenge is that most of us grew up being rewarded for approval. As children, we were praised when we behaved and scolded when we didn't. That conditioning made us associate validation with love. So as adults, we chase it. We crave it. We feel lost without it. But real self-worth comes when you break that pattern, when you stop chasing approval and start embracing authenticity. When you can look in the mirror and say, even if no one understands me today, I am still enough. That's the beginning of emotional freedom. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop allowing their moods and actions to dictate your peace. You can care deeply and still remain centered. You can love others and still not absorb their chaos. The strength lies in knowing that someone else's storm doesn't have to become yours. It's learning to say, I see your pain, but I won't let it define me. Because empathy without boundaries becomes self-destruction. There will be moments when people will project their insecurities onto you, when they'll try to make you question your worth. In those moments, remember this: you are not responsible for how others choose to perceive you. You are only responsible for staying true to yourself. The opinions that truly matter are the ones rooted in love, respect, and truth. And even then, they should never outweigh your own understanding of who you are. When you detach your self-worth from others' behavior, You stop living reactively. You stop seeking validation and start radiating confidence from within. You stop taking things personally because you understand that people act according to their own reality, not yours. And in that understanding, you find peace. You find freedom. You find the quiet strength that comes from knowing that no matter what happens around you, you remain whole every day. We face moments that test our patience. Someone cuts in line, sends a rude message, disrespects us, or lets us down when we least expect it. Our first instinct is often to react, to fire back, defend ourselves, or make them feel what we felt. That's the natural human impulse. But growth begins when you realize that reacting and responding are not the same thing. Reaction is impulsive, it's emotional, automatic, and uncontrolled. Response, on the other hand, is intentional. It comes from awareness, from pausing long enough to choose how you want to handle the situation instead of letting the situation handle you. The space between what happens to you and how you choose to act, that's where your true power lies. When you react, you give away that power. You let someone else's behavior dictate your state of mind. You hand over control of your emotions to the very person who disturbed them. And the irony is, most of the time, the person who triggered you doesn't even realize the impact they had. They move on while you're left replaying the moment in your head, consumed by frustration. Reaction is easy because it's instinctive. It requires no thought, no awareness. It's the mind's way of protecting the ego. But response requires emotional discipline. It requires wisdom. It means stepping back and asking yourself, what outcome do I really want here? Do I want to prove I'm right? Or do I want to protect my peace? Choosing response over reaction doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. It means you refuse to let temporary emotions destroy long-term peace. It's not suppression, it's mastery. There's a big difference between bottling emotions and managing them. Bottling means ignoring them. Managing means understanding them. When you feel anger rising, you don't deny it, you acknowledge it, but you don't let it lead. You take a breath, observe it, and wait for it to settle before you act. That moment of pause may seem small, but it's the line between chaos and clarity. Imagine a storm, the wind, the thunder, the lightning. It's intense and loud, but it doesn't last forever. The same is true with emotions. Every wave of anger, irritation, or frustration eventually passes if you let it. The problem is, most people build their decisions in the middle of the storm. They react when the emotion is at its peak, and later regret what they said or did. Response means waiting for the storm to pass before you speak. Because when you respond from calmness, your words carry power. When you react from emotion, your words carry damage. Life will always present opportunities to test your control. Someone will misunderstand you. Someone will gossip about you. Someone will try to provoke you just to get a reaction. When you take the bait, they win. When you stay calm, you win. Not because you proved a point, but because you showed yourself that you are no longer controlled by your emotions. You are guided by your principles. You are not reacting from who you were. You are responding from who you've become. This kind of control doesn't develop overnight. It's built through awareness and practice. The next time something frustrates you, notice the physical signs. The quickened heartbeat, the clenched jaw, the shallow breath. Your body reacts before your mind does. That's your signal to pause, to breathe, to remind yourself that you are in charge. Because if you can't control your immediate emotional response, someone else will always have the power to control your peace. It's important to remember that responding doesn't mean you stay silent or passive. It means you choose your timing and tone with intention. You can stand your ground without losing your composure. You can express truth without anger. The calm voice often has more impact than the loud one. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said, and when your energy carries calm authority, it commands respect in ways shouting never could. Choosing response over reaction is an act of self-respect. It's telling yourself that your peace is too valuable to be thrown away over temporary emotions or fleeting conflicts. It's choosing maturity over impulse. It's realizing that not every situation deserves a reaction because not every battle is worth fighting. And the ones that are deserve to be handled with clarity, not chaos. The more you practice this, the more unshakable you become. Because life doesn't stop testing you. You just stop failing the same test. Emotional discipline is not something we're born with. It's something we build. It's not a natural talent, it's a daily practice. The mind, by default, reacts. It wants to defend, to explain, to control. It clings to anger when hurt, to fear when uncertain, and to pride when challenged. But to live with emotional discipline is to train your mind to pause, to think, and to choose what truly serves you. It's learning to manage the storms within so the world outside can't shake you. Most people spend their lives trying to control situations or people, but the real mastery comes when you learn to control yourself. Your thoughts, your impulses, your emotions. Training your mind begins with awareness. You can't discipline what you don't recognize. Every emotion you feel is a signal, a message from your inner world trying to tell you something. Anger may be pointing toward a boundary that's been crossed. Anxiety may be highlighting an area where you lack trust in yourself. Jealousy may be showing you a part of yourself you've neglected. Emotional discipline starts when you stop judging these feelings and start listening to them. It's not about suppressing emotion, it's about understanding it. The disciplined mind doesn't silence emotion, it interprets it with clarity and chooses the best response. The reason many people feel overwhelmed or emotionally unstable isn't because life is too hard, but because their mind has been untrained for calm. Just like a muscle, your emotional strength grows with consistent effort. You wouldn't expect physical strength without exercise, yet we often expect emotional stability without any inner training. The truth is, peace requires practice. It requires moments of silence, reflection, and stillness. The more time you spend observing your thoughts instead of reacting to them, the more control you develop. A calm mind isn't one that never gets disturbed, it's one that knows how to return to peace quickly. Training your mind also means separating what you can control from what you can't. Emotional chaos begins when we try to manage things beyond our reach. Other people's actions, opinions, or feelings. You can't control how someone behaves, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. You can't control every outcome, but you can control the energy you bring into every situation. The moment you stop trying to manage everything outside of you and start focusing on the strength within you, your emotional balance begins to stabilize. You start realizing that calmness is not a reaction to peace. It's the source of it. It's also about building habits that strengthen your mental resilience. The way you start your day, the content you consume, the people you engage with, all of it shapes your emotional environment. A disciplined mind doesn't feed on negativity, it filters it. It doesn't absorb every opinion or argument it encounters. It knows that not every thought deserves attention, and not every emotion deserves expression. Training your mind means teaching yourself to pause before you speak, to breathe before you judge, and to understand before you respond. That simple act of mindfulness can change the direction of your entire day. But perhaps the hardest part of emotional discipline is consistency. There will be moments when you lose control, when you react before thinking, when emotions take over despite your best efforts. That's part of the process. Discipline isn't perfection, it's persistence. It's choosing to get better at handling your emotions one moment at a time. Each time you catch yourself before reacting, you strengthen that mental muscle. Each time you choose calm over chaos, your emotional intelligence deepens. And over time, what once felt impossible becomes instinctive. You become the kind of person who can walk through tension, criticism, or pressure and remain steady, not because life got easier, but because your mind got stronger. Emotional discipline transforms the way you live. It turns frustration into understanding, pain into patience, and chaos into clarity. When your emotions no longer dictate your behavior, you become truly free. You stop being a prisoner of circumstance and become the author of your own response. That's the power of a trained mind. It doesn't chase peace. It creates it from within. Every person has a limited amount of energy each day, mental, emotional, and physical. Yet most people spend that precious energy on things that don't matter. They worry about opinions that don't define them, argue about situations they can't change, and chase validation from people who don't even notice their effort. The truth is, not everything deserves your energy. The moment you realize this, life becomes lighter. You begin to see how much of your frustration comes not from what happens to you, but from what you choose to focus on. Redefining what deserves your energy is one of the most powerful forms of emotional maturity. It's not about caring less, it's about caring wisely. So many of us go through life reacting to everything, every comment, every slight, every piece of gossip. We give our peace away to trivial things, then wonder why we feel drained. Energy is currency, and attention is how you spend it. When you pour your energy into things that don't build you, you end up bankrupt in spirit. That's why boundaries are essential. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They help you decide what stays and what goes, what matters and what doesn't. Because the truth is, not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument deserves your words, and not every person deserves a seat at your emotional table. Redefining what deserves your energy begins with clarity. You must first know what you value. If peace is your priority, you can't afford to constantly engage with chaos. If growth is your goal, you can't keep surrounding yourself with people who thrive on negativity. Every time you choose where to place your attention, you're shaping the direction of your life. The conversations you entertain, the environments you stay in, and the people you give your time to. They all feed or drain your energy. The more intentional you become about these choices, the more control you have over your inner world. There's a certain freedom that comes when you stop responding to everything. Not every message needs a reply. Not every insult deserves an explanation. Not every misunderstanding requires you to prove your innocence. Silence at times is the loudest statement you can make, because when you no longer feel the need to defend your worth, you reclaim your power. The moment you stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, you conserve the energy that used to be wasted on convincing others. That energy can now be redirected towards something that actually serves you, your goals, your peace, your growth. It's important to understand that people will always project their emotions onto you. Some will try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. Some will drain your energy with constant complaints or negativity. Others will create drama just to get a reaction. But the one thing you control is your participation. You can't stop people from being who they are, but you can stop letting their chaos become your concern. Walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you finally understand that peace is expensive and you can't afford to spend it on every situation. Redefining your energy also means letting go of overthinking. Most of your exhaustion doesn't come from physical effort, it comes from mental noise. Replaying conversations, predicting outcomes, and imagining scenarios that never happen. The mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy, depending on where you direct it. A disciplined mind chooses not to dwell on what it can't change. It focuses on what's real, what's present, and what's productive. Because every minute spent overanalyzing something you can't control is a minute stolen from your peace. When you start seeing your energy as sacred, everything changes. You begin to value silence over arguments, presence over distraction, and understanding over reaction. You start to notice how certain people and places affect your mood, and you act accordingly. You no longer chase closure from others because you understand that walking away with your peace intact is its own form of closure. You no longer engage in debates meant to drain you because you realize that some people seek conflict, not clarity. The moment you redefine what deserves your energy, life simplifies. You stop fighting battles that don't belong to you. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand. You stop investing in situations that only take from you. And as you do, you notice something powerful. Your mind gets quieter, your focus gets sharper, and your spirit feels lighter. Because peace doesn't come from having a perfect life. It comes from knowing what to give your energy to and what to let go of without regret. At the end of the day, peace is not found in silence or solitude. It's built through strength. It's not the absence of conflict. It's the mastery of response. You've learned that anger doesn't come from what others do, but from how you interpret what they do. You've learned that your worth is not measured by how people treat you, but by how deeply you understand yourself. You've learned that real maturity isn't about having no emotions. It's about having the discipline to guide them. Life will never stop testing your patience. There will always be someone who provokes you, challenges you, or tries to pull you down to their level. But you are no longer defined by what happens around you. You are defined by what you allow to live within you. The person who learns to remain calm in the storm is not weak. They are powerful beyond measure. Because calmness is not the absence of emotion, it's the control of it. When you understand the root of your anger, when you detach your worth from others' behavior, when you train your mind to stay disciplined, and when you protect your energy like it's sacred, You become untouchable. The chaos of the world no longer dictates your mood. The noise no longer distracts you. You rise above the noise, not because you're better than anyone, but because you've learned that peace is worth more than pride. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this: you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to react to every tone, every insult, every moment of disrespect. You are in control of you. That's where your freedom lies. That's where your power begins. Because the strongest person in any room is not the loudest, not the angriest, not the one who wins the argument. It's the one who walks away still at peace.